Welcome to Part 2 of Special Dietary Needs in Supported Residential Services. In Part 1, we met Jane, a new SRS staff member, competing in a quiz show on special dietary needs, and we went through some of the topics she had to learn. We looked at dietary needs based on values and beliefs, and how to master the art of catering for them, knowing what to pay attention to, having strong routines for consistency, and talking to the right person for help. In Part 2, we'll focus on special dietary needs that have to do with health and safety reasons, and we'll follow the same structure to discuss how you can help. And of course, we'll get to see the last part and the outcome of the quiz show. Let's get into our main topic. There are a range of medical conditions and safety concerns where diet can play a key role in the management of risks. In this video, we are only going to focus on 3 of them: chewing and swallowing issues, allergies, and celiac disease. Let's start with this one. A very important topic is chewing and swallowing difficulties, as affected residents can be at serious risk of choking. If this risk is not appropriately managed, it can result in illness, decline in function, and, in extreme cases, death. Jane knows this topic is important, but she also wonders if it is important in SRSs. Again, a valid question. Let's see if the information that follows can clarify this. Chewing and swallowing issues can be the result of poor dentition or poorly fitting dentures, conditions that affect swallowing, such as dementia, traumatic brain injury, Parkinson's disease, stroke, ageing, and some medications common to SRS residents, such as antipsychotics, can also cause swallowing problems. As you can see, many of these risk factors are common among SRS residents. Now, what is in the art of catering to the dietary needs of residents with chewing and swallowing issues? Let's look first at the A, what to pay attention to. Not all residents experiencing issues will tell you. This is why what you might hear or see, especially during mealtimes, is so important. You might notice that during or after eating or drinking, residents have a wet-sounding, muffled or gurgling voice. They may be coughing, choking, or frequently clearing their throat. Or they may be eating slowly, swallowing several times for each mouthful, or taking a long time to eat meals. Foods, drinks, and saliva may spill from their mouth. You might notice them having breathing difficulties, such as shortness of breath, or they may be avoiding certain foods. Frequent chest infections, say 2 or more per year, can be an indication of swallowing issues. And being mindful of the medications that can potentially lead to swallowing issues is also helpful. Now, who should you talk to if you notice any of these signs? In this case, you can get help from your local speech pathologist. A speech pathologist can assess the residents for chewing and swallowing issues and provide an instruction sheet for how food and drinks should be modified. A dietitian can also assist by providing education on how to make appropriate changes and ensure nutritional requirements are met. As with any other special dietary needs, there are some key routines that you can follow to ensure consistency and continuity of care. As always, the special dietary needs log sheet in the kitchen. There is also one routine that we haven't mentioned before, which is the resident support plan. This should include the recommendations from the speech pathologist and dietitian. That way, if there were staffing changes, it would be easy to pass on this valuable information to the next person. In addition, if your resident attended a social activity where meals were served, provided you have their permission, it is a good idea to share these same recommendations with the activity organisers. Let's now stop for a moment to see how Jane is going at the quiz show. It seems that she's caught up and got into the elimination rounds. They are just about to ask about chewing and swallowing. It's Mark's turn. Mark, is the following statement true or false? There is no such thing as risk of choking in SRSs. Oh, I'm afraid that true is incorrect. Many of the risk factors that cause chewing and swallowing issues are common among SRS residents, and therefore, risk of choking must be considered. Unfortunately, Mark has been eliminated. It is now between Jane and John. Stay tuned. Now we'll stop for a bit on the topic of food allergies. Although this condition is sufficiently covered in first aid training, we know that there are situations that often pose a dilemma to SRS staff. As you probably know, food allergies involve a reaction from the immune system in response to a component of food. At their most severe, which is known as anaphylaxis, they can be life-threatening. So, where is the dilemma? Well, sometimes the resident's medical background information provided to the SRS is not sufficiently clear or conclusive. Or a resident may indicate that they are allergic to certain foods when they simply don't like them. What is then the art of catering for special dietary needs when we have a suspected allergy? Well, it is the same as with a confirmed allergy. We'll pay attention to two things. Number one, removing any trace of the allergen from foods and drinks provided to the resident. And two, watch for any signs of allergic reaction, such as a rash, itch, swelling, or choking. We need to also talk to the visiting GP and request an allergy test to confirm the diagnosis. This is to ensure an appropriate management plan is in place, such as the use of an EpiPen, and that staff are appropriately trained. This is another example where having very well-established routines will bring you great peace of mind. Curious about how the quiz show is going? Let's take a look. John has to pick the correct option out of 3. The question: a client tells you that they are allergic to tomato sauce but has never been tested. The options are: don't do anything, no need to worry. Speak with the client's GP and request an allergy test to be sure. Give plenty of water to prevent anaphylaxis. John's answer is correct. Get ready for a tight finale. And now, our last topic, celiac disease, another condition where diet plays a key role in the management of health risks. Celiac disease is an immune system response to gluten, which is a protein in wheat, barley, rye, and oat products. Although this disease doesn't cause a life-threatening response like an allergy would, the inflammation of the gut lining caused by the immune response has significant short and long-term complications. Some of them include iron and vitamin deficiencies and increased risk of cancer. So, how do we approach their special dietary needs? It's important to pay attention to avoiding cross-contamination because only a tiny amount of gluten can trigger a harmful and long-lasting effect. Since avoiding cross-contamination is very important, you may need to think of having gluten-free appliances, such as a toaster for gluten-free bread, gluten-free food storage areas with appropriate labelling, and changes to food handling and cooking practices. Even little things like being mindful not to transfer regular breadcrumbs through the butter onto the gluten-free toast will be important. You can always talk to your local dietitian who can help you modify the kitchen setup, provide education for the staff, and can also work with the affected resident to help them understand their condition, what to eat, and how to look after their health. The same routines that are important for other types of dietary needs are useful here. In addition to all of these, kitchen processes should also be documented in a way that is easily accessible to staff filling in for regular workers or weekend staff. This is also something that your local dietitian can help you with. That brings us almost to the end of part 2 on special dietary needs in SRSs. Time for a brief recap of this topic. In part 1, we talked about what special dietary needs are and why they are important. We looked into dietary needs that are linked to values and beliefs through 2 examples: halal foods and vegetarianism. Then, in part 2, we looked at 3 types of needs associated with health and safety issues: chewing and swallowing difficulties, allergies, and celiac disease. As we went through all of these examples, we also described what is the art of catering for those special needs in the SRS environment. Before we go, let's turn our attention back to Jane and find out who wins the show. It is Jane's turn again. It's another true or false question. If she answers correctly, she could be the winner. This is the statement. Documenting food processes for celiac residents is not needed in SRSs because they are only small businesses with small teams. False is correct. Documentation is crucial, even within small teams, especially for casual or weekend staff. Congratulations to our new champion. Well done, Jane. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this show as much as we did.